I moved to Ashland, Oregon, a little over a month ago. It's a quiet town nestled among rolling hills and pine trees, a place that felt like it might let me breathe again after the chaos I left behind. After my breakup, the city felt suffocating. The noise, the crowds, the memories in every corner. I wanted somewhere slower, smaller, calmer. That rental house on the edge of town was nothing special. An old wooden frame with a porch that creaked, a backyard overgrown with wild grass, and windows that let the cold air slip in on rainy nights. But it was mine, and that was enough. Most nights, I got home late from work. My schedule wasn't normal. I worked odd shifts, often pulling the overnight, so by the time I got home, the world was asleep. Stores were closed. The streets were dark and empty, and I was usually too tired to go out again. So I started ordering groceries online, usually late at night. It was easier, safer, and honestly, a little comforting to see packages show up at my door instead of having to face the outside world. That night was no different. I was sitting on the worn couch, half wrapped in a blanket, scrolling through my phone and trying not to think about the loneliness that seemed to settle heavier some nights. My eyelids kept drooping, but I forced myself awake, waiting for the delivery notification to pop up. Around 2:15 a.m., my phone buzzed. Delivered. The app said my groceries were waiting by the door, but I hadn't heard a doorbell or knock. Usually, the driver would ring or call me so I could come get the bags. I peeked through the window. The porch was empty, just the faint outline of shadows cast by the street lamp. Maybe the driver left and was already gone. I shrugged, telling myself I could get it in the morning. Sleep felt too precious to lose over groceries. Then, just as I settled back into the couch, there was a soft, deliberate knock at the door. My heart jumped. I wasn't expecting anyone. Not at this hour. Peering through the peephole, I saw a man standing outside. He wore a dark jacket, a baseball cap pulled low, and carried 2 paper bags. At first glance, he looked like a delivery driver, but there was something wrong. Something that made me freeze. I opened the door a crack. "Delivery?" I asked, voice a little shaky. He nodded, but his eyes stayed fixed on the ground. "Yeah, ma'am. Got your order." I frowned. The app said it was delivered almost 2 hours ago. He shrugged, stepping forward with a slow, confident gait. "Maybe you ordered late. Sometimes the system glitches." I noticed the bags. Plain brown paper, no store logos or stickers. Usually, grocery deliveries come with bags printed with the store's name. It was odd. "Where's the store branding?" I asked, trying to sound casual. His eyes flicked up for a moment, cold and sharp. "Doesn't matter." A chill crawled up my spine. "Can I see your delivery badge or ID?" I asked, taking a step back. He hesitated, then pulled out a small metal badge clipped to his jacket. The letters were faded, the paint chipped, like it had been tampered with or left in the rain too long. I swallowed hard. "Hold on," I said, closing the door gently but firmly. I locked the door, then darted to my phone. Opening the delivery app, I refreshed the page. My heart sank. Order canceled. No delivery scheduled. I tried calling the customer service number listed, but the call went straight to voicemail. Every muscle in me tightened. I looked toward the window. He hadn't moved. His silhouette stood perfectly still under the porch light. I grabbed a kitchen knife from the drawer, my hands trembling. Slowly, I edged to the back door, hoping to slip out or find a way to call someone. But as I peered out, I saw him begin to circle the house, slow and deliberate, like a predator sizing up its prey. I ran back to my bedroom and locked the door behind me. The room felt impossibly small. I sank to the floor, clutching my phone and the knife, breath shallow. Outside, the world was quiet, too quiet. No cars, no dogs barking, just the rustling of wind brushing dead leaves along the driveway. I tried to stay calm, telling myself this was just some sick joke or mistake. But deep inside, fear was rising, raw and real. I thought about the nights before, how I'd felt safe here, how this town had seemed like a fresh start. But now, sitting in the dark, the house felt like a trap. I thought about calling someone, but my phone battery was low and the signal was spotty. I thought about screaming, but my voice felt useless. Hours passed. Every creak, every shadow felt like him inching closer. At one point, I dared to peek through the blinds. The porch light was still on, but the man was gone. I waited, afraid to move. The sun finally began to rise, washing the sky in pale gold. The feeling of relief was overwhelming but mixed with something else, an uneasy knowing that this night wouldn't leave me. It was a warning. Since then, I've never ordered groceries late at night. And sometimes, when the wind picks up just right, I swear I hear footsteps outside. I used to brag about my smart home. Not in an obnoxious way, at least I don't think so. But I was proud of how I'd set everything up. Voice-activated lights, smart locks, temperature controls synced with my schedule, speakers in every room. The whole place felt like something out of a futuristic ad, efficient, clean, always in sync with me. It was my fortress. Just me and the tech, no mess, no surprises. Or at least that's how it was supposed to be. Started one Wednesday night. I was working late, finishing up a few edits for a project due the next morning. Around 10:30, I noticed the lights in the kitchen flicker. Not just a soft pulse like when the grid hiccups, but sharp, fast flashes, like a warning. Then they dimmed to a reddish hue, something I never programmed. I figured it was just a software update or a glitch in the presets, so I told the system to reset to normal. It listened, for a moment. About an hour later, the thermostat cranked itself up, not gradually, not logically, just jumped from 69 to 82. I felt the shift immediately, this heavy warmth that didn't belong to the night. I stood up, walked to the wall panel, and manually brought it back down. Even reset the app. No big deal, I told myself. Smart homes hiccup sometimes. The Wi-Fi drops, a patch goes weird. I've worked in tech long enough to know things break. I didn't sleep great that night. The heat lingered longer than it should have, like the house was holding on to it. The next evening, I was sitting on the couch watching a documentary when I heard something strange come through the living room speaker. At first I thought it was part of the film, but then I realized the audio had shifted to the hallway speaker. I muted the TV, and I could hear it clearly. It was a voice, not a full sentence. Just a few words, but they were garbled, like someone whispering underwater through a cracked speaker. I froze. The system wasn't supposed to respond unless I activated it. I didn't say anything. I asked the system to identify the last voice command. Said, "No voice command detected." I don't scare easily. I'm a logical guy. I checked the logs, looked for signs of remote access. I ran a full diagnostic scan through the control hub. Nothing came up. I even rebooted everything, router, assistants, cameras, the whole system. I told myself it had to be a bug. but bugs don't whisper your name. By Friday, I was on edge. The front door lock disengaged itself at 2:17 a.m., then relocked exactly 1 minute later. I only knew because I got an alert on my phone. I reviewed the camera footage. There was no one there, just the quiet glow of the porch light and an empty driveway. Still, I changed all my passwords. Factory reset the lock. Set up two-factor authentication. I even disconnected the garage from the network, just to be safe. But the thing that really rattled me happened Saturday night. I was lying in bed, not quite asleep, when every speaker in the house came alive at once. No chime, no wake word, just sound, loud and jarring. It was a child's voice singing a nursery rhyme, something old, out of sync, like every speaker was a beat behind the other. Ring around the rosy. I sat up straight, heart pounding, staring into the dark. Pocket full of posies. It echoed down the hall, through the vents, layered and distorted like some kind of haunted choir. Ashes, ashes, and then silence. I was about to reach for my phone when I heard it. A new voice, quiet but close. It whispered my name, right beside my bed. Not through the speaker, not from the hallway, from the air beside me. I turned on the bedside lamp so fast I knocked it off the table. There was no one there, just me, blinking in the harsh light, sweating through my shirt. The system had no record of any audio playback. Nothing in the history. No alerts, no triggered devices. I didn't sleep after that. I spent Sunday trying to make sense of it. I disconnected devices. I sat on hold with tech support for almost an hour, trying to explain what happened without sounding insane. They ran remote diagnostics. Everything was normal. No unauthorized access. No sign of intrusion. But something had changed. The house didn't feel like mine anymore. It watched me now. I know that sounds paranoid, but you can tell. When something familiar turns wrong, the silence started feeling loaded, like the speakers were always listening, even when I wasn't speaking. I catch a flicker on the corner of a camera feed, not a figure exactly, but a shift, a shadow moving faster than the frame could catch. By Monday, I started keeping the lights on all night. I even tried staying in a hotel, but I couldn't sleep there either. I kept thinking about the speakers, the locks, the cameras, about the house waking up on its own, waiting for me to come back. I thought about selling it all, scrapping the system, going analog again. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't matter, because it wasn't the system anymore. Something else had taken root inside it, something that knew me. It didn't just mimic a voice or trip a sensor. It watched me, responded to my fear, escalated when I tried to push back. Played that song again on Tuesday, just once, through the bathroom speaker while I was brushing my teeth. Only one line this time. We all fall down. Then silence. It hasn't done anything major since then, not yet. Just little things. Lights that flicker when I pass. The soft click of the deadbolt shifting when I turn my back. The feeling of static in the air when I speak out loud. I don't tell anyone about it. Who would believe me? And I don't leave. Not really. Because I keep telling myself I can fix it. That if I find the right command, the right line of code, I can shut it down. That this thing, whatever it is just a flaw in the system. But I know better now. It was never a glitch. It was an invitation. And I accepted it the moment I let the house start listening. I was house sitting for this couple in suburban Connecticut, just watching their place while they were on vacation for a week. They had a little boy, maybe 10 months old, and they'd taken him with them, which honestly made my job easier. No diapers, no crying, no late night rocking. Just the house, the dog, and watering some plants. They were sweet, the kind of couple who left a handwritten list on the fridge and cash on the counter with a sticky note that said, "Thank you." The dad showed me everything the night before they left, where the dog food was, the thermostat, the security system. And then, right before they left, he pulled up this app on his phone. "It's the baby monitor," he said. "It's connected to the nursery camera upstairs. You probably won't need it since the baby's not here, but if the dog goes up there or something, you can just check it from your phone." He helped me install the app and log in with their account. Just in case, you know? I didn't think much of it. I wasn't planning to spend much time upstairs anyway. I had the guest bedroom, the kitchen, the living room, and the dog was old and mellow. Mostly just slept in the sun patch by the back door. Everything was fine the first couple days. Peaceful, really. I was getting paid to hang out with someone else's dog, eat takeout, and watch Netflix in a clean house that smelled like wood polish and soft baby lotion. I kept the monitor app running on my phone the way you'd leave a light on in the hallway, just to have it. It showed the crib, the glider chair, a small bookshelf, and one of those calming star projectors that painted soft lights across the ceiling. The room was always still, until the third night. It was just after 1 in the morning. I was lying on the couch under a blanket, the TV still playing something I wasn't really watching. The dog was snoring near the sliding glass doors. And then I heard the monitor app click, that tiny static pop that happens when the feed wakes up. I looked down at my phone. The screen had gone from dark to grainy gray. The nursery. I didn't move at first, just stared, because something was wrong with the image. There was movement in the crib. I sat up slowly, trying not to breathe too loud. I thought, maybe the dog wandered up there somehow. But no, he was right there by the door, asleep, unmoving. So what the hell was I looking at? I picked up the phone and brought it closer. The image was fuzzy, like static had crept in around the edges. But there was definitely something in the crib. It wasn't clear, not enough to say what it was, but it was shifting slightly, like a person trying to get comfortable. My first thought, ridiculous as it sounds, was that the parents had come home early and forgot to tell me. That maybe they'd flown back in the middle of the night and put the baby down without waking me. But no one had come through the front door. The security chime hadn't beeped. The car wasn't in the driveway. The dog didn't react. And the baby wasn't even supposed to be here. I watched the feed for maybe 20 seconds, completely frozen. The crib mattress creaked faintly through the monitor speakers. There was a soft rustle like fabric being pushed aside. The lights from the star projector swirled slowly overhead. Then the feed glitched. Not a total disconnect, just this weird flicker. The screen jumped once and then showed the crib again, empty. Just like that, the glider chair still. The blanket smooth. It looked exactly like it had every other night, untouched. I didn't know if I'd imagined it. Maybe the app glitched? Maybe a light flicker from a passing car reflected in some weird way. But then I noticed something that made my stomach clench. My phone buzzed, a little notification. Screenshot saved to gallery. I hadn't touched anything. I opened my photos. There, saved in the folder with the baby monitor app's name, was an image from just moments before. I tapped it open. And I swear on everything, there was a face in the crib. Not a baby's face. Not someone I recognized. It was pale, wide-eyed, turned just slightly to the side like it had just noticed the camera. The eyes were open too wide, so much white showing, and the mouth was slightly parted, not in a scream, not in a smile, just slack, blank, like it didn't expect to be seen. I don't remember standing up, but I must have. My next memory is walking up the stairs with my phone gripped in both hands, my heart thudding like it was echoing up through my throat. The hallway was cold. The door to the nursery was cracked just enough for the star projector's lights to seep out, drifting lazily across the hallway wall. I hesitated just a second, then pushed the door open. The room was silent. The crib was empty, exactly like the feed had shown. No blankets disturbed. No indent in the mattress. The glider hadn't moved. It was a child's room, but it felt like a stage after the show. Like whatever had happened was over, and I was just standing in the echo of it. I stayed there for maybe a minute. Then I backed out, shut the door gently, and went back downstairs. The monitor feed stayed dark the rest of the night. I didn't sleep. I just lay there with the blanket pulled up and the lights on, listening to the silence and checking the monitor every few minutes. The next morning, I made coffee with shaking hands and took the dog for a walk just to be outside, to feel something real under my feet. I didn't tell the parents. What was I supposed to say? Hey, while you were gone, your baby monitor took a screenshot of a stranger's face in the crib where your child wasn't. No, they'd think I imagined it. Maybe I did. But then why was the screenshot still on my phone? I stayed the rest of the week. Nothing else happened. The monitor never turned on again. Not on its own. The nursery stayed quiet. The house felt normal. But I never went back upstairs. Not once. When the family returned, I handed over the keys, gave them a polite smile, said everything was great. The dad asked if the app worked okay, and I just nodded. They paid me, thanked me, gave me a wrapped box of chocolates and said to let them know if I ever wanted to sit again. I smiled, said I'd think about it, but I won't, because I still have the screenshot. I've shown it to one friend. She says it looks like a bad compression glitch, just pixels. But I know what I saw, and I still remember how the eyes in that crib looked like they were looking right through the camera, right through the screen, right at me.